All right, welcome into, I don't know what episode this is, but this is going to be the final one of the year. And
does it have to be the final one, though?
I guess it doesn't have to, but
come on. I'm having a good time.
With the guests we have on today, I say we ride off into the sunset. You know,
is that what it is?
We got the national championship. We got Coach Self on today for those who don't know. And I figured we go ahead and just take this episode and then go off into the sunset. Kind of like, I'm happy that those guys, made the decision to go to the NBA. Go ahead and ride off with that win and end on top. And that's what we're going to do here with the Glue Guys.
Is this kind of the mic drop episode? And
we'll see. Hopefully it goes well. I guess it could go terribly. And if that's the case, then we may need to come back.
We need to come back. But, you know how it's when you had that bad game and you're like, listen, I can't wait to play again. Yeah, so this has to just be on fire today we can just be good.
I'm counting on you.
Don't count on me. I'm old.
Well, anyway, let's get into it. I don't want to waste too much time. Let's go ahead and bring Coach Self on and ask him some questions. There you go.
You texted it to me, so I couldn't figure out how to send it to my email so I could put it on my computer. I'm a dumbass, as you know.
Don't worry about it.
I hear Richard.
I'm here, Coach.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent. We're still riding high from this championship you got us.
Oh, you're not riding that high. Hell, the Ducks didn't win anything, so you're not too high. Hey, it's good seeing you guys working together, man. That's awesome.
Hey, it's been fun. It's been a good time to work with him. He's been okay as a co-host, I'd say. He's doing his job.
Well, I'm sure you have to carry it like always.
I do. Trust me, I do. I do all the ad reads. I got to do all the transitions and stuff. It's a lot of work. But he's answering questions when I throw some layups to him.
Yeah. Hey, tell me about the baby.
The baby's doing great. He's sick right now, but he's 16 months old, coming up soon, and walking around. I may have him come in here in a little bit. So
is he big?
He is big. He may be a basketball player. We'll see. He's definitely in the building.
His daddy and grandpa was, so I hope so.
So wait, am I hearing this right? Is there a scholarship offer already on the table, or are we still waiting a little bit?
I tell you what, since I won't be anywhere close to this place in 18 years, hey, there's a scholarship offer and $1 million signing bonus too.
Okay,
that's right.
I like it.
NIL, there we go.
NIL, yep.
I love it.
Well, Coach, what's it been like since the win? I know things have probably been hectic and stuff. You guys are doing a little bit of a world tour and stuff. What's this last few weeks been like for you?
Well, it's Lando. It's actually been great. It's been. I told the people the other day. They asked me, "Have you had a chance to enjoy it?" And I said, "How could I enjoy it? Heck, I've been drunk every day for 2 weeks. How could I enjoy it?" but that's not true. But it's been a whirlwind, as you said. We're still floating around here, not like what we were. We're all coming down now, and but for about 2 weeks, though, Landon, it was good. And I think one reason why it was so good is because, I know the players expected it. I'll be honest with you. No, I don't think anybody outside our team really expected it. I think they thought, well, we got a chance to do pretty good. But as you know, watching us play, this wasn't close to the teams that you played on from a talent standpoint. But from a chemistry standpoint and sharing the ball and being tough at game point and stuff, it was a damn good basketball team. They maximized their abilities about as well as any team that we've had.
Coach, when the bracket came out, did you kind of get some sense that, hey, at least this path is within reason, you know what I mean? Or do you just look at every time the bracket comes out, you're like, hey, we'll just who's number one on the list and go from there?
That basically I look at it as weekends. So yeah. The only thing I really looked at, Richard, was the first weekend. Okay, yeah. Texas Southern and then either Creighton or San Diego State. And we actually thought it would be San Diego State. just because they defend so well. But Creighton played great. We caught a break in the Creighton game because their big kid hurt his ankle the last play of the game, basically, against San Diego State. So we were able to play 3 games with teams with kids coming off of injuries in the game before we played them. And that's when I didn't think it started lining up for us till the second weekend. We drew Providence, which was the 4 seed. That's the way it should be. But we thought the winner of the Providence game would have a great chance to get to the Final Four, not because anything negative, just because you got 7 and 10 on the other side. And the fact that, Iowa State was a 7 seed and we knew them well, and we actually thought Iowa State would beat Miami, but Miami was too good. And Landon knows this. Miami was too good with players making individual plays. I mean, they had guys that could go get their own shot and were really good at that. But as Landon knows, if we can kind of figure out what somebody's really good at and take those few things away, we can be pretty darn good defensively. And that second half against Miami, we finally kind of figured out, okay, you do this, this, and that, and it cut their water off. And so that was a good matchup for us, even though they were talented, good matchup. And then you go into the Final Four, and I didn't care if we played Houston or Villanova or Arizona or whoever, but we played the best team for us because, I hate to say this, because Justin Moore got injured. So even though Villanova could have easily beat us if they had their full complement of guys, the fact that they didn't, I mean, we were confident going into that game, and then we regardless of what happened in the who won the other game, our team was as focused as any group I'd ever been around. I felt good going into the championship game, but as a coach, and Brandon, I mean, Landon knows this. I think I can be somewhat positive, but I'm kind of like a pessimistic positive person in that I could find, oh God, no matter, this guy could be falling regardless. In the tournament, I never felt that way. I felt like we were going to win every game, and that was a pretty good feeling. And I think the players kind of fed off that too.
So we had some of the players on this year onto the show, and one of the things that we heard was that in the TCU game, there was a little bit of that locker room moment, team coming together moment that I know a lot of the teams I played on went through at some point in time. Did you notice anything different, after that last TCU game that stood out to you, or was it kind of a slow build from there?
You know what? As you know, Landon, and you heard me say this, teams don't become teams in October. Teams will become teams when you go through some crap. And the Kentucky game was crap for us. Obviously, that helped make our season. And then after we got beat, but I'm not. Our mindset and such was, even if we played better, I think we would have still got beat. I mean, we weren't right when we went down to Fort Worth. And America kind of saw then that they're good. I mean, they should have beat Arizona in the tournament too. They were good, and I don't think that we thought they were that good yet. And they punched us in the mouth, and we had to turn around and play them 2 days later because of COVID reschedule, and then we had Texas 2 days after that. So it was a heck of a week, and we were able to somehow beat TCU at home the next day, and I think that almost righted the ship. And then I don't know how it was on senior nights when you were here, but the senior night against Texas, that was probably the most pressure I think I felt the team play. We had to win the game to win the league. All the seniors, we had 7 seniors or 6 seniors, and it was absolutely the biggest tooth pull game ever. I mean, it was ugly. And we finally hung in there and won it. And I think that was the key moment, because when we won it, it felt like that they accomplished something and the pressure came off. And we really played well after that. We were really good in the Big 12 tournament.
So, Coach, so we got the championship in 08, championship in 22. Is there and I know that was a little bit ago, but how was your feeling between the two? Does it feel the same, or is this
No.
one feel sweeter, or '08 feels sweeter? Like,
Well, I think I didn't know that you could feel as sweet as we did in '08. I thought it was unbelievable. It was, my teams. I don't know if you followed it closely, but we were the team that could never get over the hump. I mean, it was our fifth chance to go to the Final Four out of the Elite Eight game. We finally won one. The pressure was off. The competition in the Final Four was better because it was all 4 number 1 seeds. I mean, it was elite. But we played so good. I mean, we played so good that it felt great. It was surreal, but we didn't really have to go through much crap to get there. I mean, it was like we were injury-free all year long. We were never ranked lower than 3rd or 4th in the country. It was kind of like an expectation that we were going to be one of those teams. This year's team was different. I mean, that team in '08 would have never lost anybody by 20 at home. Even if the Celtics came, I mean, we wouldn't have lost by 20 at home. And Kentucky comes in and punks us, beats us like they did this year. My father passed in January, and we kind of had to work around that. We got some other off the court things that we're dealing with, and to run the table this year, I don't know that it felt better, but I think there was more elation. There was more pure joy this year because I know that this group had been through a little bit more.
Well, getting into that final game against Carolina, I mean, halftime not looking so good. I jumped on the Twitter and saw all of Kansas Nation completely chalking this one up to a loss for us. But I had some faith in you and the team. What were your thoughts? I know how we go into halftime. You talk with the coaches, and then come in and talk with the team. What was the mood like of the team, and what was that conversation like with the coaches and stuff heading into that second half?
I don't know that I was mad as much as I was disappointed, because I felt like, we weren't ourselves. I felt like that I didn't really think that we didn't compete, except on a few possessions. I just thought like we just played bad. I mean, Jalen Wilson, who I absolutely love, he missed 4 layups that any other day you make 3 of those. We didn't get to the free throw line at all. We just didn't play smart, but we also played better than what the score was, I thought. And that's really good. Hey guys, we should only be down 8. We played good enough to be down 8. That was kind of what I was saying to myself. And I how the half times are so long in the NCAA tournament. I don't know if you remember, Landon, but I would never usually come in and talk to you guys first. I go to the coaches, then come in and talk to you guys. I think this one I went in and talked to the players briefly and, just said, hey, guys, that sucked. All right, now we got 20 more minutes. You're going to decide right now before I come back in here what we're going to do. And, hey, we'll get it right, and I'll be back in a few minutes. And I went and talked to the coaches and came back in. And I don't know that we really changed much, except we didn't take them out of anything they wanted to do. They didn't feel us. Obviously we didn't rebound worth a flip. We did in the whole game. Played uncharacteristically. And our guys are like going, this isn't who we are. All we got to do is just be who we are. We don't have to be anything different. And I asked them, hey, in 2008, we're down 9 with 2 minutes left and won it. Would you rather which is harder, being down 9 with 2 left or being down 15 with 20? And they said, being down 9 with 2 left. And I said, well, if that's the case, this shouldn't be that hard then. And they came out, and we all knew that if 15 goes to 20, the game's over. But if 15 goes to 10 quick, it's anybody's game. Yeah. And it went to 10 quick, and that was the difference.
So, you had some big-time players step up in that game. But can you talk a little bit about Remy's impact, not only on the season, because, again, we saw some days when Remy wasn't available and all of a sudden Remy plays, but somehow it felt like everything clicked in that game, and Remy was just a beast.
He was bad the first half, but he was only bad because he didn't make shots. I mean, sometimes you don't make shots. He wasn't bad. He just didn't make shots. But Remy has been kind of like our Remy was hard for me to figure out because he's not the best communicator. he doesn't want anybody to know that things aren't quite right. So he tried to play hurt and told everybody he was healthy, and he couldn't move. And finally, I told him he should just shut it down, and he actually agreed with me. And when he shut it down, I didn't think we'd get him back, to be honest with you. If we got him back, I didn't think he would be whole. And that was probably the smartest thing we did, was shut him down and let him just get healthy. I mean, when I say shut down, I mean do nothing, as opposed to practice every other day and do that stuff. And he said, "Coach, I'll be ready by March." And I'm like going, and Landon knows how I operate. I said, "If you're not ready by February, I ain't going to play you in March," you know. And he said, "Coach, don't worry, I'll be ready." So I announced to the team that Remy was not going to start another game this year, which I think hurt him. But my team kind of rallied around that, and my team got tougher when he was out, and then when he came back, I think he had to kind of fit into where the team was, and he guarded, he played his ass off, he did everything right. He was the best leader, the most vocal. He was what you would envision him to be from day one if he was healthy. And Landon knows this, and you do too, Richard. Sometimes when you're not right physically, it affects you mentally to the point where you can't be as vocal and do some things. Yeah. When that thing all came together for him, I don't know that I've been around a guy that could impact the game in a short amount of time bigger than he can. I mean, Landon, you played with Frank, and you know how good he was, and I'm not saying Remy was Frank. But what I am saying, for 2 or 3 minutes, Remy was Frank plus. And that's what won it for us. He was not good. He was great. But he was great in the role that he had. And everybody loved playing with him, and he loved playing with everybody else. And I tell you, his energy is contagious. And I think that's what he brought to us as much as anything.
So at the end of the game, there was a little bit of a misstep out of bounds. I know a lot of people, so I started getting texts from teammates and stuff, celebratory stuff, and then Harris steps out of bounds. What was your thought process in that time and moment, and did you ever consider fouling afterwards and sending them to the line?
Great question. Okay, so there's 4.6 left, and we have the ball, and we actually, by chance, run the perfect play. It's perfect. But when Juan came off, and he rounded his curve more than made a sharp cut, because they switched and he was naked. Mm-hmm. And so all he had to do was just catch the ball and dribble it and then throw it in the air, and the game's over. He's naked. And he rounded it, and as opposed to making a sharper cut, and the momentum took him right into the sideline by an inch or two. It was the right call. Everything was right. The game should have been over then. But in Land, I don't know if you remember how we did it back then, but very rare. I'm not a big foul with 3-up guy. Mm-hmm. I am if there's less than 5 left or 6 left, and it's in the backcourt and you can't get into a shooting motion. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I practiced it enough to be good at it, but I told everyone we're fouling. I subbed in David. We're fouling. We're going to make them. We're not going to let them catch the ball outside of us. We're going to make everybody go back door. We'll switch everything, get on top, make them throw the ball to the basket. 2 doesn't hurt us. 2 wins us a game. But if they do catch the ball, we're going to foul immediately. And we had a long time out to talk about it because they were reviewing the out-of-bounds play. Mm-hmm. So the whole time, that 3 minutes, we're saying we're fouling. Then Carolina calls timeout to set up the play after they knew exactly how much time was left. And Jalen Wilson looks at me, "We ain't fouling." And I said, "What do you mean we're not fouling?" "We ain't fouling, Coach. We'll screw it up." He had another expletive to say. I said, "What do you guys think?" And they said, "Let's guard them." And I did like this. All right. This is on you. Y'all made the decision what you want to do. This is how we're going to do it, and we're going to stay down and this, and this. And they decide they're the ones that decided we're going to guard it. And so after I told them to foul, and I said, "Well, if this is what you guys believe, let's do it." So I wanted to put the responsibility on them. You made the call. You guys better deliver. And they did. We guarded it really well.
So, Coach, we were doing this show, and we've been doing it all throughout the year. So we'll watch a game, and then we try to decide and decipher what you are thinking. So It's great that you're here now, so we can ask you the question that we were thinking. Well, this is what we think he's thinking. So the question is that there was a game, and I don't remember exactly which game it was, but late in the game, you went in to McCormick. And you called a play, and you wanted to get him the ball to try and get a shot. And so we were sitting there thinking, hey, Coach is probably trying to give him that confidence now so that in a big game in March, he has the confidence at that time. Were we right?
Probably half.
Okay.
I mean, if you go back, Landen was probably – Landen, I forget all the stats. You probably our fifth leading scorer on that team. I mean, we had Josh Jackson, fourth pick, Devontae Graham, first-team All-American, Frank Mason, National Player of the Year, and then who was our next starter? Speed, who plays in the NBA. Okay, so Lando, I don't know what you average. You're probably our fourth or fifth leading scorer on that team. And what Landen was the best defensive postman in the league. He never had to trap because he could guard his man. Unbelievable rebounder in his area, outside his area, and probably the smartest talker defensive player. And as good a screener as we've ever had. So Landen had his role. But Landen would tell you, late game situation, we had to have a basket. Who'd we throw it to, Landen?
I'd get some touches.
Yeah. And I've always believed, for whatever reason, I would always believe that. And so there was no doubt in my mind who we were going to go through late. And David played well, too. But here's the deal. You talk about good fortune and luck and how basketball works. Baycock turns his ankle. Now, if you go back and you watch the tape when Landen scored his first basket, I mean, in the last two that put us up one, he got an offensive rebound, and instead of fanning it, he went back and Manick and Baycock were both guarding him. And what Jalen Wilson did, which is very subtle, he cut to the baseline when Landen worked middle. He cut from the baseline when Landen worked middle, and Baycock backed off of him to guard Wilson's cut. And it gave Landen a free, no contest basket. Luck. If Wilson didn't cut, Baycock would have probably still stayed on Landen. So he didn't have to score. And I mean, stayed on David. And Landen knows this. Our whole deal was getting angles where you don't have to score over opponent. David didn't have to score over an opponent in the first of those two baskets that put us up one because Jalen Wilson cut and Manick was on one side and Baycock backed off of him to guard Wilson and allowed him to turn and be naked. The next time, that was one of the dumbest plays we made. Baycock turns his ankle and he's laying on the ground and we're playing 5 against 4 and we don't attack. And nobody really knew what to do. Ochi was actually yelling at Jalen, "What are you doing? Let's go.
Let's go."
And we did such a bad job that the officials let everything get set up and did the right thing by stopping the game. Well, what a blessing that was for us because Baycock was hurt. He had to come out. Manick had to guard McCormick, and that was the exact play we would run because you have a mismatch inside. And so if we attacked, we may not have been smart enough to play through that. And we were smart enough to play through that. And, of course, David turned and made a beautiful jump hook to not ice it, but basically win the game. So I would say – I'd like to say good coaching, but also kind of lucky too.
Well, after the game, there were a few things. I mean, you got to go celebrate with the players. I saw Dotson, you gave him a hat. You know, what did that mean, you know, for that team that I know didn't get to play in the championship or in the tournament, you know, a very good team, to be able to give him the hat. And then the second part of that question was, after all this, I haven't been a part of a national championship celebratory night. Is there a lot of fun after the game? Do you go out, or do you have some time to recover from a game like that? What is it like after the game?
Well, we thought there was time to recover the next week, so we made the most of the opportunity. Hey, you know that team in 20, Doak, who couldn't be there, Marcus, who couldn't be there, and Isaiah Moss, who's playing overseas. they couldn't be at the game. Dot was the only one that could be there. But that team we had in 20 was pretty good. I mean, that was a team like we had Lando year last year. I mean, that was a good team, and with it, they didn't get a chance to play for it. And then there was some celebration and all that stuff. But as soon as I got back to the hotel, I told the players, go get your families, and we had it all set up if we won down in our team room to have the trophy there and have all the families take pictures of the trophy. So with the trophy. And so that was the time where the players could be with their families, and I knew they wanted to get out and go have fun. And then, so we all did that. And then I had a room set up on a different floor. That was a great room for staff, administration, personal friends, all the ex-players. We probably had 30 ex-players there. We had that set up there, and there was about 130 people there, 150, where the trophy was there, and everybody just mingled and hung out. And that mingling and hang out lasted until about 6:30 or 7, and then we went to bed then. So it was fun. It was a great time, kind of a jubilant, but more yet, kind of I don't know. There was kind of a contentment of being totally exhausted. Everybody was, but still yet, having that adrenaline run through you, that was, obviously a very special feeling.
So, Coach, I know that's obviously, this year has just been amazing, but you don't get to this level and play for these types of games without all the ins and outs of kind of leading up to it. So, I guess my question is when you're going into a season and you're evaluating your team, what are some decisions that go into whether or not you redshirt a player or not? Because believe it or not, it's been a decade since you and I had that conversation about Landen. It was 2012 when we had this conversation about redshirting Landen. And so what goes through your mind? What are some of the factors that say, hey, this is why I think we should redshirt a guy?
Well, I think that you probably don't redshirt a guy unless you think he can help you. So if you think a guy is not going to be good enough to help you, why would you keep him around longer? So I mean, just to be real candid. So
yeah.
So that's how I felt. And our team this year, it was a little bit different. We had 14 instead of 13. I knew Mitch had to be a player. He came back for his 6th year. If he's not part of the rotation, we don't win. And he deserved to be, but that also hamstrung 3 other young bigs. And so, but the way I did it this year, I thought we had 8 guys that had separated themselves from the other. Maybe 9 if you count Jalen Coleman-Lands and Joseph Yesufu, that had already redshirted. Basically, they can't redshirt, and the other guys weren't really good enough to beat them out yet, the young kids. So I'm like going, you're not going to beat out Remy and Juan and Oach and those guys. And I have these 2 guys ahead of you. That puts you at best 10th, and 10th man for me doesn't play hardly at all, if any. And I went around the group, and I actually asked 3 bigs, and I asked 2 guards. I think it'd be in your best interest to redshirt, even if they all redshirt, because I didn't think they would crack the top 9. And only 2 of them said, I want to do it. And that's how we determined it. But I gave Bobby Pettiford and Zach and KJ also the opportunity to tell me that that's what they want to do and visit with their family and stuff like that. Bobby was a little different because he was hurt, so we didn't know when he could come back. So it was kind of a coin flip. Do you play him? Do you not play him? And I think we made the wrong decision. I wish we'd redshirt him because he ended up having season-ending surgery anyway. But the other 3, it was like, what do you want to do? And Kyle Cuff did not want to redshirt, and I told him, Kyle, I mean, hey, you're going to be really disappointed because you're going to be a scout team guy all year long. And he decided to do it. And then Cam Martin decided to do it, and both those guys now are so thankful they did. But that was how it happened. It wasn't exact science. I felt like that we had enough depth that we didn't have to play everybody. And I said, if we do play everybody, trust me, it'll be you one game, and it may be 2 weeks later, then it'll be you another game. It'll just be based on personnel, and I don't know if that's the way you want to roll. I wouldn't do that if I were you. And just like Landon in 2012, he didn't want to do it. I guarantee you. But
no,
he didn't want to do it. But how much better was Landon as a 5th-year guy than he would have been as an 18-year-old? And then of course he had hey man.
Yeah, we got the little guy here.
Look at that guy.
What's up, stud?
This is the coach that told me to swim home from Korea.
Yeah. Well, that was back when I thought that Landon actually started an incident that was going to create worldwide tragedy because
I forgot about that. That's why
because he got into it with one of the kids from not one of the kids, one of the men from
Russia? Was it Russia?
No, it wasn't Russia. It was I can't remember the country. It may have been Russia. So after Landon created that incident that would be felt worldwide, we decided that he should maybe dog paddle back to America.
Oh man.
That's great. So
this is the little guy.
How old is he? 16 months?
16 months, yeah.
Oh, that's great. He didn't feel good today?
Nah, he's fighting a little bit of a cold, but I wanted to bring him out and come to the Texas game, but my co-host got COVID, and unfortunately we weren't able to come. But but you have a little bit more time. We got a few more things for you if you.
Sure, bud.
Yeah. Well, I want to know a little bit about you. We've talked a little bit about the season and whatnot, but I've always been curious, like, what got you into coaching? Did you always know that you wanted to be a coach, or was there something that, triggered you to want to take that route?
Hey, I got my degree at Oklahoma State in business so I wouldn't coach, because in where I was coming from, and my family was all educators. I thought really the only path I would ever have to coach would be through the high school ranks. So I didn't want to get my teacher certificate because I knew that that's what I would end up doing if I did. And I want to try to, leave it open to do something totally different. So I went into my college career getting a business degree, which I'd have been awful at doing that. And then I decided I wanted to coach when I worked Kansas's basketball camp for Larry Brown the summer before my senior year. And after camp was over, I thanked him for the opportunity. He said, Bill, if you ever need anything, just let me know. And I said, well, there is one thing. He said, name it. I said, I want you to hire me to be your graduate assistant next year. And on the spot, he said, you're hired. And so that's how I got into coaching, was one 30-second window where I had it, just out of the blue, I said that. And so I got on here as a GA. And then after I got on here, I got the bug so bad that I knew that's all I wanted to do.
And so you had a stint with Illinois prior, obviously, to your time at KU. And so, but what drew you to that Illinois job? What was so good about that location and that situation at the time that you took it? Because you had some unbelievable teams while you were there.
Yeah. We were at Tulsa, and when we left to go to Illinois that year at Tulsa, I think we were 32-5, something like that, and we lost in the Elite Eight to Carolina to go to the Final Four. I mean, we had a squad, and we were actually a 4.5-point favorite in that game against Carolina. So we were upset not going to the Final Four, and I'd had some opportunities from other places, but none of them really did it. But I thought whenever Illinois opened and they contacted me, I actually thought Illinois was one of the best 3 to 4 jobs in the Big Ten. When you just talk about, Michigan, obviously Ohio State, and I thought next was probably us. Now Izzo was at Michigan State, but I actually thought, at the time going into it, I thought, well, that's one of the best jobs because Tom Izzo's so good. I didn't know if that was a better job than Michigan. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio State were the 4 jobs. And Illinois had been good, but they haven't been good like I thought they were capable of. Also, Illinois University is the only Power 5 school in a huge state. And I thought that we could control the state. So if there were 6 good players in Illinois, I thought if we got 3 of them every year, we're going to be really good. So that was probably the reason why. I just thought it was a good fit. And we go there, and it was great. It was great. When we won the league the first 2 years and finished second to third year, it was great. And I did not want to leave. I did not want Roy to leave. I didn't want any of that stuff because I knew my time at Illinois was too abbreviated. I wanted to stay there longer, and my staff recruited some studs. I mean, well, hey, how about a backcourt having D. Brown, Luther Head, and Darren Williams as your starting backcourt? Oh, yeah, and you got a guy named Brian Cook. He was a Big Ten Player of the Year. Oh, yeah, James Augustine played in the league. Roger Palp's played in the league. And then Charlie Villanueva had just committed to us. I mean, we were going to be so good. But, Kansas to me was a once in a lifetime. I mean, you pass up on that, I think you'd look back and say, God, I could have been the coach at Kansas. And that's what did it for me. It hadn't always been perfect, but it's been a very good marriage for the last 19 years.
Well, I have a little list of quick rapid fire 5 questions. You can answer them with quick answers if you want. And then we have our From the Stands guy who's going to come on and ask you a question before we go ahead and let you go. All right. So here's the 5. First one, if you weren't a coach, then what would you be?
Salesman.
All right. What is your favorite movie?
God, I haven't seen a movie in so long. I would say favorite movie still is Gladiator.
That's a good movie.
That's a good one.
If you had to have somebody play you in the movie, who would you choose?
Well,
they don't have to look like you. You could just pick your.
If I had to choose somebody, I would say Clooney. I think he's cool.
Okay, all right. Okay. What's your favorite meal to eat?
Steak and potatoes.
Okay. And what is your best golf round that you've shot?
74.
That's pretty good.
And it was a long time ago, darn it. But I got to get back. I got to get back to that.
You haven't been golfing that much?
Haven't played it. I played last maybe September or something, but I'm getting ready to get out there here pretty soon.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna bring on the From the Stands guy who's gonna ask you a question, and then we'll go ahead and let you go.
Okay. So we're gonna bring in
him.
Yeah, so we're going to bring in Nick Kemp, and we have a segment called From the Stands, Coach, that what we wanted to do was have people who are like super fans, basically, and we want to talk to them about what is it like from the stands in terms of being a fan of KU. And so we have on here Nick Kemp, and he has a couple questions he'd like to ask.
Thanks, Coach, for giving me the opportunity to ask you a few questions. One of the things that I was curious about is at halftime, Charles Barkley criticized your game plan, and he said that you thought you were still playing the Munchkins from Villanova. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that criticism.
Well, I actually heard it when I was watching the game. I'm like going, damn, Charles, jeez. But believe it or not, and Charles knows this, a lot of times your game plan doesn't exactly play out the way you want it to. I didn't really have a game plan to miss 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 layups, and certainly I didn't have a game plan not to be able to defensive rebound. So if you can't defensive rebound, you can't run. All those things, and Charles was wrong about one thing though. He was, and of course, hindsight's 20/20. He was right. We didn't create anything defensively. We didn't do anything to create pace. It wasn't that we weren't trying. We just didn't. But the one thing we did do was play through our big, and our big won the game. So Charles was actually not accurate on the last part, because if we hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have won the game. But driving in there and trying to score, I don't know if Landon remembers this. You remember when we played Kanate from West Virginia?
Yes. Yeah.
And I told our guys to try to dunk everything because he's a best shot blocker. and he blocked like 6 dunks in the first half. Wasn't that right?
Yeah. No, he definitely was a big time shot blocker.
But we still won the game because we just kept going at him. And that's kind of how I felt about the Carolina stuff. Regardless of what anybody says, our strategy was to attack the paint, whether it be off the bounce or pass. And that's how we always play, and that's how we won.
You got time for another one?
Yeah.
So one of my favorite teams was the Wiggins Embiid team, and I've been watching them in the playoffs, and I'm just curious, what is it like coaching a couple of future NBA All-Stars?
Well, it was fantastic. The problem was we only coached them together for about 2/3 of the year. Obviously we lost Joe. The last part of the regular season and all the postseason. So that team that we had, I really felt like could have won it all. And I'm not sure that we would have, but I felt like we could have. I thought we had the best big in the country, hands down, most dominant player in the country, hands down. And then Wiggs on the perimeter, and Wayne Selden, those guys were really good players. But when Wiggs went down, when Joe went down, we lost a lot, and we ended up losing in the second round to Stanford. But it was great having them together. They're both unbelievable humans. They both were unbelievably coachable. They both gave themselves up for the betterment of this place, and so I'm so proud of them, and we all are. But I got a picture in my office with 2 guys laughing at our basketball banquet at the end of the season that are collectively have made about $800 million. So that's pretty good too.
Yeah, Landon's not one of those. Was that?
No,
oh, okay, all right. I just wasn't sure.
No, I was just under that.
Just under that. Okay.
But no, that team was crazy because Wiggins was athletic freak, and then Joel. I don't think I've seen somebody progress. When you're around somebody, you don't really notice the progression as much, but with him, you noticed it. Like almost every practice, he would be getting better. And if he doesn't get hurt that season, the teams that I played on, obviously my junior, senior year, the chemistry was great and whatnot. And that was a team kind of a lot of freshmen, but the talent that Joel, would have brought in that team that did have some leadership with like Tariq and whatnot. That definitely was a bummer we didn't see him play in the postseason.
He was, and Landon's right. He was so good. He was so smart. He picked up stuff so easily, and he was he saw the game like a point guard saw it from the 5-man position, and his skill set almost allowed him to play like that. He was amazing, and Wiggs complimented him so much because Wiggs' ego was so small for a guy like that. For a guy as ranked as high as him, he just wanted to fit in. And so Landon will tell you this, many, many times we tried to piss Andrew off as bad as we could to try to get him to get to that extra gear. But he was like, well, if we got the game won, why do I need to score? Let somebody else shoot it. That was his mindset the whole time.
Yeah. Well, Coach, thanks for coming on. We appreciate the time. It was great talking to you, and we'll try to get out there hopefully sometime, maybe this summer or next season for sure, to see you guys. I'll bring the little guy too.
Well, Nick, thanks for the questions, and Richard, always good to see you, man, and appreciate your support. And Landon, I hope you know how proud all of us are of you. So you've been an absolute great ambassador, a stud, and now if you can just get to Vegas and get lucky on a couple of no limit games, maybe you can give some money back to this place.
Yep,
there you go.
That's the plan. That's the plan. All right, Coach, have a good one.
Okay, we'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Take care, Coach.
Bye-bye.
All right, Nick, how was that?
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took my first question. I was going to ask him why the team didn't attack after Baycott turned his ankle, but he answered that. So I'm glad I had a few extras.
If you were like all of us, I'm sure, screaming at the screen, going, "What are you doing?" I just couldn't understand what was happening. So
I was
so you're
actually
absolutely
in
right.
New Orleans. I was at the game. So yeah, I was screaming at the game. Why aren't they going?
So tell us a little bit about your emotions through that. At any point in time, were you one of those fans that completely lost hope on this team, or did you
No.
say, "All right, we still got a chance"?
You know, I felt like the Carolina just had a little spurt at the end of the first half. It didn't feel like it was the whole half. And as my brother-in-law was there, and you know, everyone's all quiet, and I'm like, you know, I still think they're going to win this game. And I did. I the whole weekend, I hated it because I kept telling myself, you're going to jinx them. You can't think they're going to win. You have to think negative so that they'll win. And I thought they were going to beat Villanova, and at halftime, I still thought they were going to win.
So Nick, so you're a KU alum, right?
Yep. But
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So you've been to lots of games.
Yep.
So my question would be, what's your favorite Allen Fieldhouse game where you were in physical attendance? What was the best game you've ever been to for KU?
I was there for a game with Mizzou, and I don't remember who was 1 and who was 2, but KU and Mizzou were both 1 and 2, and I just remember being so excited for that game, and it was the place just was going crazy.
Was that the T-Rob Block one, or
No, it was before there.
Different.
I was so I'm unique because I didn't go to undergrad at KU. I went to law school there.
Oh, okay.
And because of basketball and the way the unique culture there, I consider KU to be my only alumni of the school. So it was Roy Williams era, and Norm Stewart was the coach at Missouri. So I don't remember what year it was, but I graduated in '92, so it'd probably be like 90 or 91.
Got it. Well, I know that when we were chatting a little bit, and you were talking about being a KU, when you really wanted to talk to Bill Self and things like that. So but my question then is, what are your thoughts on this specific team this year? Just as a fan. I mean, I know they won the whole thing, so obviously they're pretty good. But when just during the year, were you feeling like, oh yeah, this team has it, or oh, is this going to be another one? Like, what was your overall thoughts about this year's team?
I've been through enough years where you're sitting there looking at teams. Some of the ones that Landen were on were so good, and you think, oh yeah, they're going to be there. That I've stopped thinking, are they good? Because every year I think, well, absolutely they could win. Every KU team could win, I think. But the thing that I did love about these guys is and Coach Self talked about, is their confidence. It seemed to me like Christian Brown seemed to be the most confident, maybe bordering on cocky guys. But I always felt like that's what you needed, were guys that just had that swagger. And I saw that swagger with these guys all year.
No, this was definitely a team that you have to give them some credit for taking advantage of what was presented to them in the tournament. They had some games that opened up, and like Coach Self said, they got the best matchups they could along the way, and in the Final Four with the injury happening and stuff. But there's one thing to get those matchups, and there's another thing to take advantage of it. I think you need a team that mentally are capable of jumping on those situations and not letting the pressure of, oh, we're supposed to win this or whatnot, get to them. And that was a big part of this team. And it was fun as a fan now to watch this team grow and eventually hang another banner for Kansas. My last question to you, after seeing this year and everything with Coach Self and what he's done, what do you think is left for him? And I know that this could be a question for him, but I'm directing this more to you. As a fan, what are your thoughts as far as his legacy and what is left for him to do here at Kansas? I feel like at some point in time, a little bit of loss in motivation would come. But, I'm curious what your thoughts are, what's keeping him going.
Yeah, I would like to know. I'd like to hear him answer that question because, I think his legacy is cemented. I did think the second one, and he even talked about it during the Final Four, going, he needs to cut down some more nets. And now that he did that, he's only coached in Kansas history to win 2. So, and I wondered that. I listened to the Jay Wright press conference when he retired, and he said that he felt like he was only at about 70%, and he felt if I can't be 100% and ask my team for 100%, I need to hang it up. So I worry actually a little bit about Coach Self, because it's what do you have left to do? But hopefully he's got more in the tank. I'd like to see him win a couple more.
Well, I can tell you when Landen was being recruited, they took us around the athletic department, and we were introduced to the athletic director. Now, it's the former athletic director, so it's not the current one. But the former one said that he would have to literally fire himself before he could fire Bill Self. So I think Bill Self, even then, 10 years ago, had already cemented himself as someone that is going to be, be there as long as he wishes to be there. I did say in an earlier episode that I do think that he dabbles in the NBA. I think that at some point here, and not in the, not too distant future, that he makes a decision like, hey, I want to try to coach the best athletes in the world, at the same time. So we'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not, but that's what I think happens. So
well, I hope he's there for another 10 years.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Well, we can say he did say he wasn't going to be there when Isaiah got there, which is about 17 years or so.
Yeah.
So we can rule out that he's going to be there for another 17 years, unfortunately. But anywhere in between there, who
You're
knows?
good. No, I need him there so he can get that scholarship. He had $1 million.
I know.
So come on now. We have it on video. This is recorded.
Yeah, $1 million too. Well, Nick, thanks for coming on, and we appreciate you and your time, and the questions you asked were great, and so we appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. It's a real honor.
Of course. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks
Nick.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I thought it went pretty well. I feel like there was a lot more, that we could even got into, but I don't want to keep them all day.
It's difficult because you're right. You don't have access to a guy like Coach in this kind of form very often, and we could have, if he was willing to, we could have gone another hour of questions, because there's a bunch of directions we could have taken all of this. So we did the best we could, and of course he's awesome at this stuff, and he comes up with his stories and things like that. So
no, I think
I thought it was good.
I unfortunately was the one who had to cut it because I have somewhere I have to be. He may have been able to keep going, but he, I love it because he gives good, full answers to things.
Yeah.
He, like you said, he'll always try to tie in some stories and stuff. So it's always fun to have him on and just get a chance to talk to him. And one thing that was nice when I was playing there was he had a complete open door policy with his office. So if you were, we were around for lunch and just strolling down by the offices, we'll stop in, say what's up, and get a chance to talk with him. And I think those relationships are so, key. And it was fun. I think that this is, it was good enough that we can go ahead and ride this one off into the sunset with this.
That's it, huh?
I think so. Whether we come back again for another year or whatnot, who knows? But this is a nice little sprinkle on top of the season. Just think about it. We come on, we start this show first season. We have coaches on, we have players on. They go on to win the national championship.
Yes.
Finish with Coach Self. What more can you ask for? That's a pretty good year, I would say.
And you're right. It's funny, too, to reflect on some of those conversations because, we had Coach Roberts on. He talked about, we were discussing in the show prior about McCormick, and then he's like, yeah, we showed that to McCormick, the comments that you had made. And And then obviously we had Ochai on at some point, and we had Mitch. Who did you see? Mitch is the winningest
Well, I mean,
player.
it's kind of hard not to be.
But hey, no, there's something
you
about
show around long enough.
he figured it out, man. He was there long enough. And just think there will probably never be a 6-year person. I guess you could have like a medical, I don't know, red shirt or something, but that's pretty impressive.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be seen in the history books for that one, because I'd expect that to be a little bit given. I'm curious what second place is and how far ahead he is, but it's probably a good chunk.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, it's a full season, because also the other thing too is that you don't have a ton of players that are even redshirt and 5 years there. You know what I mean? It's like it's just it's kind of not common. So.
But yeah, we had him on. We had TM, Coach Townsend. So I mean, it's been fun. I think it was a fun year. This was a good time. I do appreciate the people who have reached out and sent us some nice messages about listening, how they enjoy it and stuff. We appreciate the feedback. And we're happy to be able to do this. It's fun. I had a good time just sitting and talking basketball with you, and
of course,
get a chance to, the other thing that's nice is I text with, coaches and players sometimes, but it's different when you get on a Zoom call and you get face to face and get to, chat for a while.
Yeah.
Even Coach Self texts me afterwards, and, it's something that you don't get normally. And so it is nice to catch up. And it has been nice to have this as a platform to do so. And I enjoyed it.
Well, so in closing, if we do this again next year, I'd like to have one request, and that request is that that you provide at least M&Ms in here, my dressing room, but they can't have any orange M&Ms.
You want the
there.
temperature at 71.
Yes, and I want Fiji water, only Fiji water. That's it.
All right, well,
if you can make sure.
Who you need to talk to is Rob and Jeff at the Field of 68. Those are the guys. We should, our contract is up technically, so in the new one, we could say.
That's what I'm saying.
Water, M&Ms, and be like, hey, take it or leave it. If you don't want to be
right. If you don't want guests like Coach Self on, then make sure that there's M&Ms with no orange ones. That's a key one. Okay, I can't have any orange ones in there, and the Fiji water, and then we'll be good.
Is the orange ones because of Oregon State?
Yes, of course, because of Oregon State. I still hate those guys.
That's like Kansas fans in purple.
Exactly. So
all right. Well, this was fun.
It was.
Yeah. I don't even know how to officially leave this off, but
it was. Hey, you started us off in the fall, so you lead us out to close the show for the
year. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you guys for listening, and that's it for the Blue Guys this year. I don't know what else to say.
We're never gonna get that second contract.
I know. Whatever.
They're gonna be like, who needs you guys?
You guys don't even know how to wrap up a show.
You don't know how to wrap the show. That's right.
All right. Well, see you guys. Bye. No, for real. See you.